everybody. So I'm going to try doing my first ever reading vlog. So just getting off work on a beautiful Monday today. I am reading two books strongly right now. One of them is The Plains of Passage by Jean M. All. I'm reading it on my Kindle because I finished the other one and it was gonna take too long to get here from Amazon. So I started it on Kindle, and when the hardcover gets here, we'll do it that way. Sorry, I'm like leaving and there's not really anybody else outside, but I'm not a huge vlogger, so it feels kind of weird. But the other one I'm almost done with is I'm listening to Gemini on audio. I already read all the books, all the Illuminae files in hardcover, or I mean in physical copy. They were hardcover, but it was physical copy. But like I've said in many of my videos so far, the audio experience is the best. So that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, book reading is going really well. I'll probably pick and get another one started because the Earth's Children series, they're very slow paced. Like, they're a really nice book to read in between other books, or like after I read something really intense, they're nice to read because there's a lot of like beautiful descriptions and they're really like slow paced. It's a series from back in the, hold on, I'm gonna start my car so it can cool down because it's hotter than Satan's balls right now, not gonna lie. But anyway, they're like really descriptive stories of like early human and like Cro-Magnon and Homo sapiens. I probably just listed all the wrong kinds of people that they are because yeah, I don't know the technical names for everyone, but yeah, so like yesterday I read the whole third book, which if you've ever read them, you know they're like 700 pages. And the reason I was able to get through it so fast is that this story has so many descriptions, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a 700-page book and I probably read like 500 of the pages just because I skipped a lot. Because yeah, she would just describe what these mammoths looked like for 10 pages, and I'm like, I want to get back to the story. So but yeah, so that's what I'm reading right now. I'll pick another book to get into soon, so I'll check in later. Bye. Hey, wanted to do a check-in and show you another book that I'm slowly working my way through. This isn't on my TBR, and it probably will take me a while to get through, at least right now, because it's kind of a process to read. But I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but this book is actually an experience, and it's called S. And when you get it, it comes in this box with this little seal on it. And it's by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst. And so it was J.J. Abrams' idea originally. And so inside this case, when you get it, comes this book called The Ship of Theseus by V.M. Straka. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I heard about it from a friend at work, and she encouraged me. She actually suggested it to me like over a year ago. And at the time, I wasn't really that interested, but after reading the Illuminae files, I kind of wanted to give it a try. So inside that little case comes this book called The Ship of Theseus, and it's just such an interesting experience because this book is a fictional book, but like this author, V.M. Straka, he's made up, and the author of this and the author of the fake story and of the notes inside is Doug Dorst. And so my camera won't let me change. So it's this library book, and then inside it are all these notes written by different characters. So they're written by these two people named Jenn and Eric. And Eric is a disgraced grad student, and Jenn is a student at this college who works in the library. And one night Eric leaves his book, and Jenn reads it, and then she writes a note to him in it. And they end up trying to uncover the mystery of V.M. Straka, who's the author of this book, who V.M. Straka has a lot of like mystery around him because nobody knows who he is. And so the two of them end up working together to try to discover who V.M. Straka was and just the conspiracy of like who he was and everything. So the super cool part, besides all the notes, is that the book, inside the pages of it, are all these different, it comes with this decoder, and there are these different like files and postcards and all these different things that are part of the experience. So I watched a couple reviews of this book, and a couple people said the best way to do it, because all the things can like fall out of it and you kind of have to like carry it around in this case, which is just a pain. So what I just got done doing is I put a sticky note with a corresponding number. So like this one says number 10, and then when I get to a page that has a sticky note, I can just go through my stack and find that note. So this really isn't a book that I can read anywhere else but at home, and so far I am enjoying it because the setup for the story is really interesting, but it's hard because the characters Jenn and Eric, who are having this conversation over this book, there's also 4 different times that they read through the book. So there's notes in one color from the first time they talked, notes in another from their second read through, and so on and so forth. So it's this really confusing timeline. So I just read someone's review where they said it worked best for them to read the Ship of Theseus and then go back and read Jenn and Eric's notes. So since I just took out all of these papers, like seriously, there's so many cool things in here. There are these long notes. Like, look at this one. Like, Eric writes this 3-page double-sided letter to Jenn to explain some things to him. And like, it's just so much. So when you're reading it, those things can kind of like fall around and they get in the way. So I just took them all out, and so I think I'm going to try reading the Ship of Theseus through, because on each page, like, the book of Theseus actually isn't, the Ship of Theseus actually isn't that long, because it's set on this with all this room for their notes. So I think that I could get through the story pretty quickly, because I know having a good grid, that is going to make the notes make a lot more sense to me, but it's just been kind of difficult so far. So, wanted to share that with you, as that's another book that I am reading, but it's going to take me a while. Like, yesterday I only got, so the green sticky note is where I'm at right now, so I'm really only read that much, and that took me a long time. It took me over an hour, just because I was trying to simultaneously read the 2 pages of the book and then read their notes, because I was trying to tie them in together. And I think it'll be easier if I read the Ship of Theseus and then do that. So just want to give you a quick check-in. So we'll check in more with you later. Peace out. Bye. Ooh, that's attractive. So update for today, I just finished listening to Gemina. Oh, that one has such a good conclusion. Like, when you're listening to, at the finale, I'm not going to ruin it, at the finale of Gemini, when you're listening to the one false report by Operative Rapier, I get so stressed out, even though I know that he made a false report on purpose. I'm just always like, oh my god, what's happening? And then the ending of that one is so sweet. So can't wait to listen to Obsidio, because Obsidio is the one I paid the least attention to when I read it, because I was so anxious to see how they were going to get out of this mess that they were in, that sometimes I skip stuff. So I'm really excited to listen to Obsidio, which I'm going to get for this weekend because I'm going home to Pillager, my hometown, and I'm really excited for that. So that's really my only reading update. I've read a little bit more of the Plains of Passage, but otherwise not. I think I'm going to pick either a fun romance to read, or I'm going to try to read one of my TBR. I'm not feeling my TBR for this month. I'm really kind of bummed, but I just saw this video by Jesse the Reader. I'll put a link to it, where he talks about when you're a mood reader, you can't just read a list of books. Like, sometimes you have to bounce all over the place. My arm got tired, so now you get a zoomed up look at my face. Isn't that fun? So, but it's so true. Like, I'll make my TBR list and be like, ooh, so excited to read all the books on this list. I mean, this is why I didn't want to make a TBR list, is because my mood changes so much. But whatever. You guys seem to like my TBRs, so I'm going to keep making them, and I'm going to keep trying my best. But I'm also, the point for me is to read as many books as I can. So if I'm not feeling any of those certain books, then I'm not going to do it. But anyway, this was my check-in. Have a wonderful day. Hi. So it's now Friday the 12th. It's been a few days since a check-in. I hadn't really gotten much reading done, and then last night, Thursday, I headed home to my family in Pillager, Minnesota for the weekend, because it's my friend's baby shower and there's the fair in my hometown. So yeah, I'm at my sister's place in rural Pillager. It's really beautiful. They just got their deck finished and it's really pretty and everything. So she's giving the girls a bath, and then we're gonna have some wine and chat. I'm a mess today. It is really hot. So pardon me, but whatever. See my cute flamingo shirt? It's adorable. So, well, I'll just give you a quick check-in. So I finished The Stranger from the Sea on the way here. I was listening to that on audio. So I quick jumped into The Miller's Dance, which is the 9th Poldark novel. I was wrong. I was previously reading the 8th. Now I'm reading the 9th. It's really good. I love those books. I never get sick of them. So I'm reading that. I'm going to try to start God's Grave this weekend. See, I always bring books home because I'm like, oh, I'm going to find some nice place to sit and I'm going to read them. And then I don't, because I'm with my family and doing fun things, and it's not always the best time to read. You know, I live alone all the rest of the days, and that's the time to read. But anyway, so I'm reading The Miller's Dance, and then I'm going to, I'm listening to that one though. So I'm going to try to start God's Grave as my one that I'm reading. But anyway, that's my quick check-in. I'm going to get back to my family now. Love you. Hi, it's the end of Friday. Like I said, I'm home in Pillager, so I always stay at my friend's house, because when I moved out, my parents turned my room into an office. Yep, cliche like that. So I can't stay at my parents' house when I come home to visit. But I always stay at my friend's house because they have this beautiful farmhouse in the country. So, but yeah, I just wanted to check in because I'm actually reading something. I started Hush Hush, which is was in my TBR jar as the YA pick for the month. And I'm actually really glad it's in there because I've been meaning to reread this series, because I read the first 2 books when I was in high school, and then when I was in college I never picked up the second 2. I've seen that like there's like hate for this series now, you know, that it was like, and I don't even know why, because like I said, I never finished it. And so I pulled this one out, and so I'm gonna reread this and then hopefully finish the series. Already, like, oh, it's so cheesy. It fits so much into the cliches from when I was in high school. Like, she literally Nora meets Patch in biology class, and they like ask each other all these questions, and he's like really secretive, and I don't remember anything. Like, I remember them having kind of like a hate to love romance, which is one of my favorite tropes. And I know that it has to do with fallen angels and Nephilim and stuff like that. But I don't really remember anything. So I don't remember if there's a reason why I need to hate this. So I'm trying to go in with an open mind, even though one of the things I don't like is I'm not a huge fan of YA where the kids are too young. Like, Nora's in 10th grade, which means she's 16 at the oldest, and I'm just not a huge fan when they're that young. I like more of like the older YA or like the new adult. But anyway, I'm only into the first chapter and it's already super cheesy, and I'm actually kind of here for it. Like, I'm gonna give it a go. But yeah, so just wanted to check in with that, and I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get done tomorrow. I have a pretty full day, but I'll either pop in with what I'm reading or else I'll give an outro for you guys. But have a good night. Bye. It is Saturday night. I'm still on Pillager. Today, as for reading wise, I am about 3 hours or 150 pages into The Miller's Dance, the 9th Poldark novel. You guys know that. If you're at this point, you've watched most of the vlog already. It's been really good so far. I'm really into it. I'm kind of annoyed by a couple of the characters, but otherwise I'm having a really good time. So yeah, it's about 10:30 at night. Me and my family just got back from the fair. I think I inserted maybe a picture. Otherwise, it's on my Instagram, some pictures. We were at a mud run in town and it was really fun. But today, my sister and I, hey Beth, if you're watching this, I love you. Thanks for a really fun day today. We went to my favorite bookstore in Brainerd. It's called Emily's Bookstore. I'll put a little picture of them here if you for some reason are ever in the area. Who knows? That bookstore has been around since I was a little kid, and my mom used to take me there. They had a tornado when I was about 13 and we were so worried they wouldn't come back on, but they've had to move to 3 different locations over the years because they keep getting so big. And anyway, it's one of my favorite stores ever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a mini book haul with these books because I bought a lot of them today and they're all really old books, and I don't want to like put them in one of my normal book hauls just because there's a lot of them. So I'm going to do just a quick show you the books that I bought. Because a couple of them are really cool. Like, I found 4 books that were on my list, and I only paid like $4 for each of them. So yeah, I'm gonna show you those now. Okay, so here are the books I got. These 2 I actually got at a thrift store. This is a Vicki Lee Lewis Thompson, The Nerd Who Loved Me. I actually read this back in high school. It's about this accountant for a nightclub, and he pretends to be engaged to one of the singers there to protect her from getting in trouble. This book is called River Run by Felicia Andrews. I don't know anything about it. I know it's a Civil War era novel. Once in a while I like to pick up these really old romances because they're super cheesy and I love it. And then I bought these 4 Lynn Curlin novels. This one is one of the time traveling romances. You remember that series that's called like Timeless Treasures or something? I read a bunch of those when I first started BookTube, and I randomly found this one, and it's one that takes place in Scotland, which I think you know where I'm going there, and that's why I'm interested in this, except they go back to 1311 Scotland, which is way further back than before. But then I bought these 3 other ones by her. I don't know if they're in a series together, but I didn't want to take the chance of not having all 3, and they're only like $1 a piece at the store, so I got them. Then let's move down here. This is The Shelters of Stone. This is the 5th novel in the Earth's Children, and this one as well, which you'll know in my last book haul, I book hauled the first one. This one is also a first edition with the plastic wrapped, and it was only $6 again, so I had to take advantage of that. Then I found these 3 Terry Goodkind. These are the last 3 of his that I didn't have in hardcover, and again, these are all first editions as well, which just tickles me pink because I paid $7 each for these, and I was so happy. Like, literally I have a list on my phone of which hardcovers I still need, and I found these. And then my piece de resistance, I don't know how this was there, but I found a first edition of Drums of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon. This is the 4th Outlander novel. It is the first printing of the paperback. Came out in, let's see, I was just so surprised. The beautiful, like, Scottish cover. Came out in 1997, so this is over 20 years old. Still in beautiful condition. And, like, you know, on my shelves, I have a perfect set of the, you know, regular paperback. I wish this was hardcover, just because I eventually want hers in hardcover. But as being kind of like a collector now, I just, like, it was just on the shelf like this. And I saw her name, and then the name of it, and I was like, this is so beautiful. So, because I know when the newer ones came out, they had the new covers. So, this is so pretty. And I got it for $2 because all the paperbacks at this one store are $2 each. So, this is the book I'm reading right now, but these are all the books I got this weekend. I spent a total of $30 on all of them, including 4 which are first editions. So, it was a pretty successful weekend. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out this vlog now because it is Saturday night, and I might do a little bit more reading of Hush Hush before I go to sleep. Still on page, I'm on page 59. Haven't had a chance to read any today because I was busy with my sister. But thank you guys for watching this. This is the first reading vlog I've done. Please let me know if you like it. I might try doing another one. Otherwise, like, I don't know if I'm going to, like, keep up with these, but I wanted to give one a try. So thanks for sticking around. As always, thank you for stopping by the Book Refuge, a welcoming place to talk about the books we all love and be nerdy together. So I love you all. Good night.